appreciate all of you being here. It means a lot. I know there's a lot of things you could be doing on a Monday morning. So I want to echo a couple things that Micah said and then add a couple of my own. So yeah, the session is being recorded. That's just in the off chance that anything brilliant falls out of my mouth. It'll be nice to have it on video. Any clip that Micah creates will be focused on my coaching insights, not on who I'm coaching or anything that you're working through. So relax, be real, and bring your true self here. We're not putting anyone under the microscope. We're just here to lift each other up. Okay, rules for the hot seat. We're here for collective impact more than individual attention, but it looks like I have a few of you enough to be able to give plenty of individual attention. But as the group grows, that might change. So the rule is to be encouraging, uplifting for everyone that puts themselves in the hot seat. It takes a lot of courage to do so. Oh, I see more people jumping in. If you have a perspective on someone else's situation, please share your thoughts in the group chat. There's going to be a lot of wisdom in this room, and we want to share it. So we all have, and then that'll also make a good use of our time. I love participation, but I also love momentum, and we're only going to have about 45 minutes, so we want to make it count. We'll move fast. I'll try to stay focused despite my ADHD, and our aim is to create as many light bulb moments as we can for each other in our short time together. Also, coaching is a bit different from consulting. I'll use my best judgment on when to drop out of coaching and into consulting and vice versa. And now we will let Tyler Durden wrap up the intro. If you know, you know.
Final rule. This is your first night at Fight Club. You have to fight. And the
All right, awesome. I saw a couple of smiles from there. A couple of people got it. All right. I don't know if I'll probably bring this up later. I don't know if it's because this was like my senior year of high school when that movie came out in '99, but I feel like some of those movies at that time in your life are extra special. So it'll be a fun conversation for later. All right. Well, the one of the opportunities or one of the ways that we can do this is I can be like the DJ taking requests. So we're going to open up the chat. If you have a burning question or something that's going on in your business or your life you'd like to talk about, please drop it in the chat for us. There's not so many of us that you can't just blurt it out, but we're trying different techniques here.
Would you rather me blurt it out?
Blurt it out. Let's go ahead.
Right,
yeah. When we get like 15 or 20, we'll focus on the chat. Hit us with it, Daryl.
Cool. So I'm having trouble managing finances. Now, I know that sometimes a lot of my clients can pay up front for the year or 6 months, or 2 years, or 3 months, whatever. And some clients go month to month. And it's kind of blurring the line between how much income versus revenue I actually have on a certain basis. So I was wondering if you can touch on what is maybe like a best practice for me to kind of help understand, okay, how much I'm actually making versus how much people are paid up front. You know what I mean?
Okay. I have some context because I know you and I know your business. Will you share a little more context for the group so that when they have some great insights, they'll be able to share their thoughts? So help everybody understand a little bit more what your business is and how your billing works as of right now.
Cool. So right now, I guess the easiest way to say it is I'm a fractional business development. What I do for my clients is I utilize LinkedIn to go out and find referral partners. I find direct clients. I have conversation with those people. I engage with those people. And once those people are ready to become my clients' partners or clients or work with them in any capacity, I go ahead and book them directly on their calendar. And I charge monthly. I can charge quarterly, 6 months, or 1 year. And sometimes I have clients that will pay me upfront for the year. And then I've got other clients that pay me monthly. So I'm having trouble kind of finding the distinction between how much money I'm actually making on a month-to-month basis. I know there's some sort of system, but I don't know what it is because, again, I'm just a business owner.
Yeah. There's definitely different ways to track that and your finances on the way that works. But I'm curious about your multiple options and how you came up with this. My first thought was that you probably want to make it as easy as possible for the people that you're bringing on to say yes. But is there some other thought process behind having so many different options for them to pay you that even though it's increasing complexity, it might be making it easier for them to say yes?
Yeah, and what it was is that sometimes it may take sometimes it may take like 2 or 3 months for me to generate ROI and opportunities for my clients. So I don't want them falling off at the first month. If we book appointments and those appointments don't really come to anything financially, they kind of feel like, okay, maybe this isn't working. Whereas it always works. It's kind of like Novocaine. You just got to give it time. It'll work. That's why I created that 3 month pay. Like, just give me at least 3 months, and that's really the only reason outside of that. That's why I have that price.
Yeah, my initial instinct feels the same. In my business, somebody can pay me for one session, and if they don't have an amazing light bulb moment, they're not going to continue next. But sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So I feel like that's a really smart intuition that you have. So you have them an option. You said a whole year up front. Are people committing to that before they've even worked with you at all? Or
Yeah.
one of the reasons I'm saying is I don't let anyone pay me for a year up front, because what if I don't like them? that can actually happen to me. So that was one thing that I'm thinking, but I'm seeing Tim nodding his head. So I bet we might get some insight from Tim in a minute. But yeah, tell me more about the options that you give them. Do you say, here's your option, or here's how we do it? And then if they give you pushback, do you then offer other operatives, or is it, here's the smorgasbord of choices for you to decide from? Because that's going to give me some different insight about how I would make my recommendation.
The latter. It's just, hey, these are the pricing options. And there are price breaks. If you go for 3 months, you're obviously going to save money. If you go for 6 months, you save more money. If you go for 1 year, you save more money. That's really just the thinking behind it.
So there's definitely something called decision fatigue. There's also been a lot of research about how many options you give people and how it affects their psychology of buying, of saying yes. There's a saying that the confused mind says no. There was an amazing study about they used jams and jellies on a table. And when they had 17 options of jams and jellies, people wouldn't pick any. But when they had 3 or 4, it was really good. When it was just A or B, they crushed. And then there was a similar thing about a shoe salesman. And his methodology that he crushed everybody else was whenever people were looking at 2 shoes and they're like, well, I want to see this third one. He would ask, okay, which one do you want me to take away? Because it was, I want you to only be looking at these 2 options. So those are just a couple things that happen for the psychology of purchasing and for decision making. So my instinct says you might be making it too complex. And if you could help deliver them or help take them down the road that you want them to go, I bet you'd have even more success. There's also a methodology of putting the option that you would prefer them to take last in your A or B close. I'm seeing some people nodding their heads. Tim, Megan, do either of you have any experience in that, or you just agree that maybe you feel that way? Please unmute and share your thoughts here.
Tim's a salesman. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So yeah, Mike, you're spot on. The less choices, the less confusion. And so, you have to figure somebody's commitment to 90 days. Think of how you onboard. You have a 30, 60, 90-day onboarding plan usually in a corporation that knows what they're doing. But 90 days. From that point, they just decide whether they're going to go forward or not. So 90 days is likely not going to be enough time to measure results, real results. And so, most people go to, sign a year-long contract. But I'd be willing to go for 6 months, because 6 months is a much better barometer on BDs, especially, where you could gain some momentum and traction.
That's really good. I like that. I also like the option that I've seen where you have a checkpoint if somebody is resistant to, say, the 6-month mark. You could say, all right, if we haven't met these metrics, or you haven't seen at least this result by the 90-day or 120-day mark, then I'll let you out. And that could be something that if people are resistant to committing to the 6 months up front, you at least get to show, hey, here's what's happening. So those are a couple things that I think would make a big difference. But your real question was about the finance. So I wanted to share that because I think that would make it easier to answer that question. When you're able to make that close, as opposed to a month to month and having multiple options, you're drawing revenue forward. So now you have the ability to spend more on marketing and gaining new clients and also operate your business. So I think it would be better, in probably in most cases, to simplify your offer, to have just, 2 options, have the one that you prefer at last. And then if they push back at that, then say, hey, we can set up some things along the way to show that we are making progress towards your goals so that you feel more confident saying yes. All right. I'd love to hear your thoughts based upon what you heard. If you think any of those are something that you might consider or you think would add some value.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think, when I first started, it was just, get clients to the door, and I was willing to offer really any pricing model in order to do that. I think I'm at a point now where it's like, okay, I'm not saying yes to everyone. Yeah, I to really pick and choose and say, you know what, this is a great fit, this isn't a great fit. And I think with that, I am able to kind of scale back my pricing solutions or my pricing options rather than say, okay, it's A or B, not A, B, C, and D.
Yep.
Just to make it work. It's A or B or walk. And I think that's probably something I should do sooner rather than later.
I've also, this is another great pricing strategy that I've seen for public speakers. I know we've got the amazing Raymond Kemp on here. He gives killer keynotes, and so he'll appreciate this. There is a strategy for keynote speakers. They call it the the North Dakota price versus the San Diego price. And if somebody wants to know your price to come speak, and it's North Dakota in January, and you don't want to do it, you price it at such a point that if they actually said yes, you'd be stoked to go to North Dakota in January. But if it's at, some beautiful place in San Diego or Hawaii, and they're willing to, you might do something different. So you also got to be very careful with what you're offering, because there is a true thing as price discrimination. To offer 2 different things or the same thing to 2 different people at different prices, that's price discrimination. And so in our business, whenever we're working with the complexity of an individual business owner who has unique needs, we have the ability to change our price based upon the work that needs to be done to work with them. So be careful not to price discriminate, but also know that in our businesses, you can offer different pricing for different scenarios, because there is so much complexity in the unique spacing. But that ties into what you post on the internet versus your website and stuff like that. So lots of fun things that we can talk about with pricing. But that was a great question. I hope you got some value out of that. All right. Anybody else have something they want to throw their hat in the ring, jump in a hot seat? Something else you want to talk about?
Hey, Mike, I've got a bit of a delay here. I'm on travel in Oklahoma City, and I just wanted, first of all, I'm super glad that you decided to do this and get folks together and have these conversations, because I'm super curious about how to be better. You mentioned briefly about the price discrimination. And then you said, just kind of as an aside, like the second verse was, if you post it here, if you post it there, website. What's your thought on publicly posting and publicly facing pricing?
That's an awesome question. I have a couple of opinions on it. One, it can serve you very well if you use an anchor price. So if you pick the highest end of what you would do or what you would get paid for something, and you post that on the website, then that can be a great anchor for my Navy man here. That, hey, it locks in the price that this is what it is. And then there might be opportunities for you to offer an even better deal or to do things. But that can also backfire on you where, if you go too much lower than your anchor price, now you're eroding trust away from, oh, well, okay, what's going on here? So that is usually my first thought process on using a public price is, does it add value to you to build trust, to establish credibility, and to help close deals? If it's not doing one of those three things, it might not be a good idea. And for you, especially with the idea of keynotes, you might when you're first getting started, it might be a good idea to post like a $10,000 anchor price, knowing that if somebody is, comping all of your travel and you get great videography or there's a ton of publicity, you might do it for a lot less or even for free. You might consider it, oh, this is for a good cause. I love supporting, children in need, and I get to, whatever. So now you've anchored your price at 10,000, but you're able to offer it complimentary. Now there's, I'm not a tax guy, but there's often opportunities for, hey, this is what I charge. This is what I did it for free, but vice versa. You could have the opposite effect whenever you're really good and you command a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 fee, maybe that's not for you to share. So, I think each individual case, I would need more details about where someone was in that, but, in another scenario, anybody here a member of Fabletics? Anybody like Fabletics gear? No, no, they hit it. Fabletics, they anchor their price so high, like these are $65 shorts, and then it's the new member deal. It's 80% off. Like, are these just $20 shorts that you like raise the price so high so that you can offer it? Like, it erodes trust to me, but I also really like their shorts at $20. I kind of feel like I kind of know the game and it was worth it to me. So that's the type of thing that can happen, is you don't want to commoditize yourself or erode trust by posting a really high price and doing all your stuff really low. But that's a fun question.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And then for scenarios like what I was talking about with Daryl's scenario, where there's so much complexity on what can happen in the pricing. Now that's another thing. It's like, hey, you gotta message me for pricing. So that was a cool one. Sean, haven't heard from you yet. What's going on in your world?
How you doing? Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good morning.
So one thing I'm dealing with is kind of time management, but I guess it goes back and forth between time management and deciding if I should focus more on steering the ship of my business versus jumping in the seat and making calls and visiting customers and kind of doing more of the sales and business development.
Okay.
Either way, I'm playing with both, but what I'm finding is when I do more business development, then I'm just spending more time after hours and weekends doing the things that I need to do, which nobody else is going to do, financial stuff. And like I said, kind of planning for the business and things like that. So that's been kind of taking a toll on me. And I'm just trying to decide which way to go. Do I focus more on leadership or focus more on sales?
My instinct says it's probably not binary. It's probably not either or. Maybe it's a little bit of both. So tell me a little bit more about business, because it sounds like what I'm hearing you say is, what's the difference, or do I need to be working more on the business versus in the business? And in the beginning, I don't know where you are in the scenario. So tell us more about your business, who you're helping, what you're offering.
Yeah, so we are a second generation delivery service. So we work only with businesses to do same day deliveries, warehousing, distribution, logistics, that sort of thing. So we work with businesses and hospitals and things like that. So the struggle I have is most of the deals that I would be working on are very long life cycle, 6 months to several years. But if I don't keep up with them, they forget about me. So that's part of my struggle, right? So one thing I've been playing with is taking certain days of the week and just saying, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm only doing sales. Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm only doing management stuff. But as business needs come up and I need to bring on more people and things change, I'm finding that my schedule now it's just a mash of everything on every day all over again. So,
but one of the things I wanted to ask you is, how bad is your ADHD? No, I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have a different response. There's a different coaching response versus a different consulting response. We could try and dial in and find the right answer, but this is a fun one for coaching.
Mhm.
So you used the word struggle 3 times.
Yep.
And I like to reframe struggles as opportunities. Your subconscious mind, your limbic brain doesn't know the difference between being excited and being nervous. Like this morning, I'm about to, it's a few minutes before I launch this thing and I'm feeling super nervous, but I'm like, no. I'm excited. This is exciting. So the same type of reframe. So tell me, in what way can what you just described as a struggle, how could you reframe that as an opportunity?
I suppose the opportunity could be, I guess a classic business sense is that if I feel that there's a need to potentially bring on somebody, like for sales or whatnot, maybe that's something I'd have to jump into and test,
Mhm.
or, work with somebody like Daryl who does fractional. So that's a different conversation. But um, so that's I guess that's probably my opportunity. I think I just need to try something. I would say we're a pretty established business since we've been
Uh-huh.
around 36 years now. So we've been around a
Wonderful.
long time. So we have teams and things like that that are already built out. It's just a matter of when opportunities come up, it's kind of all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Um, because when I'm looking to bring people on, for example, I need 5 or 10 people like right away.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just one person, but a salesperson I could probably bring on one person, test it out
Mhm.
for 6 months, and see
Yeah.
how it goes. So I guess maybe that's the opportunity.
Sounds like there's also an opportunity to, for being as established as you are, it sounds like you might have an opportunity as well to dial in your processes. It
Mhm.
seems like there's, so when I was in the Army, I would teach these things called battle drills. The Army has a definition of a battle drill that I locked in my brain many years ago. And it says a battle drill is a collective action performed rapidly without applying a deliberate decision-making process. Collective action performed rapidly without applying a deliberate decision-making process. Basically, what it means is multiple people have to participate. That's the collective action part. Performed rapidly, that's obvious. But without applying a deliberate decision-making process means it's second nature. Everybody knows what has to happen when this thing happens. It's the if then. If this happens, then we do this. I don't know if you're a football fan, but that's like the defense watching send the offense, in motion, and they don't call a timeout to be like, oh, hey guys, what do we do now? They know it's a collective action performed rapidly without applying a deliberate decision-making process. So what are the battle drills in your business? When this happens, how do we respond, and how everybody knows? That is something that makes things really tight, and it allows you to step away if you are the one that has to make the decision, by empowering junior leaders to fill that opportunity, to fill that role. And then you can focus on the things. Because I'm curious, where can you make the biggest impact in your business?
Speaking with customers. Yeah.
Okay. So as much as I'm a fan of outsourcing lots of things that aren't your gift or that someone else can do better, if that's where you're making the biggest impact, okay, that's probably where you should be.
Mm-hmm.
Another military term is, they say, where can the leader make the most difference? Sometimes that's out front, sometimes it's back here, sometimes, but if your biggest impact is going to be made talking to customers, then I would try to outsource those other things. And then while you're doing it, how do you replicate yourself? How do you dial in those systems and processes in such a way that you can train someone else to do it if that's what needs to happen in your business?
Mm-hmm.
But we've got some other folks in here that I bet have some awesome thoughts on this, and I'd like to ask them. So I think Daryl raised his hand, but then I think we lost signal. Tim, I see the smile on your face. Please share.
Where it's at. Specialization's where it's at. And, you want you doing what your best and highest use is, and the thing that you're most effective at, and you then sub out the rest of it, because, all of the ancillary support stuff, yeah, it's important, you stick with the thing that's the most important. For me as a business owner, it's the most important thing on the planet to drive sales. And so therefore I'm only going to focus on sales. Everything else, I can get a virtual assistant, I can hire, whatever it is, but specialization is where it's at. And, Mike, you in the military, you even know this, right? You're, you can be a sniper, you can be artillery, you can be all kinds of things. You're going to specialize in your job and be unbelievable at it. And that's how you make a unit work correctly. So that's my thought.
That was great. Sean, I'm wondering your takeaways here. We shared a lot and we didn't really answer your original question, but are the wheels turning? What's going on here?
Yeah, wheels are definitely turning. Thanks, Tim, as well for the heads up or for the input. Yeah, I think sometimes writing something down or verbalizing something just kind of helps cement it in the brain. So I think that's probably something I should just focus on. Subbing out some of the other tasks that I do to my teams, so I can just focus on networking and meeting with clients and things like that.
Well, it's also important to remember that a lot of times business owners will default to the thing that they enjoy the most, not what is most important to be done. And a lot of times when I talk with business owners, I'll ask them, what do you think your business needs the most? Not even what you think you should be doing. And they will answer with a thing that they enjoy doing the most, when that might not be it. So I'm curious, do you feel like your answer is also just so happens to be the thing you enjoy doing most, or might it be the opposite? What's going on? Is there any internal tension, ooh, I got to do the thing that I don't love to move my business forward? Or is it the thing? What's going on there?
I think it's the opposite. I don't necessarily get psyched to do, sales calls. When I say sales calls, I'm focusing more on specifically cold calls.
Okay.
That I hate, but it needs to be done. And, last week, for example, I took a few days and made a bunch of calls and actually made progress with people and got some new things. So, it's one of those days where, I have to do it and force myself to do it. And then I say, dang, why wasn't I doing this earlier? But I'm actually the opposite of what you said. I like to do the steering of the ship. I like to look at technology and automation and process improvement. That's what I actually like doing. But I have noticed that, at least compared to some of the salespeople that I've hired in the past, when I get on the phone with a customer, I can make things happen. Versus, because I can make the call, I can make the decisions. Versus sometimes somebody where they have to come to me for approval or whatnot, even though I've told them they don't need my approval, just get the deal. So
Yeah.
so things like that.
Well, that sounds like really solid self-awareness, that you knowing what your business needs might not be the thing you enjoy the most, but you also know where there's some solid opportunity for impact. Okay. So what is the action you're going to take, between now and next week? If we end up jumping on again, what are you going to do different or more of, or whatever next?
I think the action I need to take is to, like I said earlier, follow up and make more contact with customers, and unless something's literally on fire, don't change my schedule because, we need more people on the team, or, I need to bring on more drivers or whatever it is. In a sense, that can wait, but I need to keep the pipeline going, and not focus so much on ops.
I feel like there's a lot of things we could talk about on the consulting side about how to get all those things dialed in. But on the coaching side, it sounds like you've got the right thought process. But I think your original question was it about prioritization, or was it hit me again with it? Do you remember?
Essentially, I think I was saying it's about decision making. What do I focus on? Is it running the business, or is it making sales calls, which I guess is working in the business?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. That's fun.
Thanks
for sharing. Yeah, you bet. All right. Megan, you haven't shared anything. You got something? Might be the last one. I'm about to wrap up.
You know me, I always have something going on over here.
Yeah, you do.
criminal defense. So I'm the COO of the criminal defense immigration firm. Our biggest struggle the last couple of quarters has been people leaving, coming, onboarding, offboarding. I can't pin down maybe why we're not having a great year, because everything has just been constant change. And so it's hard for me to be like, what's the problem? What's the issue? Because it hasn't been consistent. So it's like no consistency. So it's really hard. Like I feel like now we have a good team, but I'm also offboarded 2 people and onboarding 2 people this month. So I'm just like, when will that end so that we, so it's just trying to find consistency when there's so much chaos going around.
This is going to be a fun one. Okay. So you said a couple things that jumped out at me. I am curious about how you deal in all parts of your life with inconsistency and with change. How does that make you feel? Yeah, no, we can all see, we could hear it. The way
I'm very type A and controlling. Like I need it to be a certain way. I don't like it because when something's not broke, I don't want to. You know what I mean? I want it just to be, the same. You want
everything to be the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
So that I can control it. Because when I'm in control, no, I know.
Okay.
Y'all know me. Yep.
So what if that's not actually the problem? There's a great line I really like to use, that it's not a problem to be solved, it's a dichotomy to be managed. What I hear going on is you're trying to solve the unsolvable. You're trying to create order out of something that is naturally chaotic and flowing. You're trying to like, hey, this. So what I'm hearing is some resistance to just how things are. And you're like, if I can just get this to be the way it's supposed to be, it'll all be fine. And I think you're going to give yourself an ulcer.
If I don't already have one. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right. So let's think through that. How did me sharing this idea of this is an unsolvable problem, perhaps, but it's more of a dichotomy to be managed. What's going on internally now? Just did it make you uncomfortable just hearing that?
My stomach hurts. Thank you. Yep. It's the knots and twists and all the things. Yes, that's how it makes me feel nauseous a little bit.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, but it used to not be that way. Like when we used to be super consistent, like for 5, I would say, I'm not exaggerating, 5 years, it was the same staff. We were just rocking and rolling. Like even COVID hit and it didn't really deter us. We had our best year during COVID. So it was just like, then it all just kind of went to shit, So it's just, I don't know. I just can't. The boss is always like, what's the problem? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. There's so much going on. Like I can't pinpoint. Is it this? Is it this? Is it sales? Is it the legal team? Is it, is it our marketing team? Like we fired a marketing team, hired a marketing team. Now we're firing them and hiring another one back. Like it's just, it's so much change. So it's just like my head's on a swivel.
Okay.
I can't give answers. I don't know how to give answers. I don't like to be put on the spot to give answers when I'm like, I have no idea.
Is it the change that's spinning you out?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So what processes have you put in place to manage the change, to Mike's point?
How do you get people not to quit? I don't know.
Well,
culture. Working on culture. We're working on that. Team building, stuff like that. Like we got that.
How do you control people, Megan?
Yeah.
How do I get people to do what I want?
Attorneys are impossible. Okay. That's the problem.
All right.
They're impossible to control.
Now we have a good coaching opportunity here.
Yes.
Do you actually, that you believe that from the way you said it, attorneys are impossible to control? Really, is anybody possible to control? I mean, maybe when we have little kids and we can, even then, like we can't control what other people do. And it sounds like the actual problem is not the actual opportunity, is not trying to get people to do what you want them to do, but to learn that people are going to do what's in their own self-interest. So Napoleon Bonaparte had an amazing quote that he said, there are only 2 levers that can move a man: fear and self-interest. So that's it. The dude conquered almost the whole world, by knowing how to move men, and it's through fear and self-interest. You don't want to institute fear and make people do what you.
We've tried that. Yeah, that doesn't really work.
Then people
panic and jump. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so just knowing that people are going to do what's in their best interest,
Mhm.
and knowing that you can't and shouldn't or don't or won't, whatever, control people. But yeah, I feel like there's an opportunity there for you to have a growth moment when realizing I don't have control over this. And
I'm
that's
in
okay.
therapy. I'm working on it. Okay. I'm trying. It's just really hard. It's a constant struggle.
I'm going to hit you. I'm going to close this out with one of my favorite coaching lines. If you say so.
Yeah.
You just
walk
spoke
away.
back-to-back limiting beliefs. Did you even hear them when you said them?
Mhm. If you say so.
The I can't, I won't, like all those type of things. And like every one of those, I wish I could like play it back. Like, it's like hey, what did she just say? You spoke so many limiting beliefs back to back to back, the wringing of your hands.
Mhm.
It is, whoo, that's some good stuff right there. It's if you say so. The things that you said are only true if you want to believe them and if you lean into them and make them so. So I usually reserve that line for people who have engaged me with like paid coaching, because it can be very, ouch. I didn't show up here to be attacked, and I didn't mean to.
I do feel attacked. I do. It's fine.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I usually have a lot of trust built up before I use that line. So please forgive me for hitting you with it so firmly in public now and on video. If you
Thanks.
say so.
Please don't use this for marketing.
Micah, erase this part.
Cut it.
Yeah, but that's what's wild is here you are speaking limiting beliefs about yourself that you are also making true about yourself. And we all do it. One of my dearest friends he's used the if you say so on me so much that now it has become super sensitive for me to notice it in other people, because I didn't realize how many limiting beliefs I was speaking in my own life, just always. So that I hope that was something that hit you.
I'll write it on a stick.
Wow.
Put it on my computer. If you say so.
Well, that's the goal of if you say so is for me to help you recognize that you were speaking limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually fix anything. It's some time for reflection. So, well, guys, that was so much fun. I hope you really enjoyed it. I loved it. It means so much to me that y'all were here. I'm gonna keep doing this. If you didn't already, I think everybody here joined the school link, but that's where you'll get the reminder. I'll post this on LinkedIn a couple more times, but if you'll take a few minutes, if anybody got a nugget, an aha moment, if there was something that added some value, will you please share it real quick before we close out?
I actually think you couldn't have closed on a higher, more poignant note than if you say so. That's a beauty.
I think Megan might disagree. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Thanks, Tim. And thanks, Megan, for being such. I did say it takes a lot of courage to get in the hot seat, and I didn't even let you volunteer. I pulled you in there.
I knew it was coming. I was like, but you already know I've got 10,000 things we could talk about, but I'll let everybody else talk.
That was so great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else got any aha moment worth sharing? If you do, please.
Thanks for hosting this, Mike. I got to bounce.
All right. Well, it means so much to me that you were here. I really appreciate it. You're a great inspiration to this whole thing.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, there's a school link that Mike had just posted. If you're not already a part of that, it's free to join. That's where we're going to be dumping lots of great content and making it easy for y'all to get and stay connected. Thanks a lot for being here.